it should go just like we talk normally. Right. That's the idea. We ain't trying to, pretend like, we ain't trying to, because we can curse. We can do the, you know what I'm saying? We say the hell we want.
You're listening to the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast on the SME Network and through SoundCloud.com. Don't forget to hit us up on the email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. Also, we got the Facebook page, we got the Instagram page at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast, and also hit us up on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. That's Maestro Styles over there. I'm Trey Fraser. What's going on, man? What's good?
Cool, man. Never day, never dime. Got a great opportunity to try to watch some of this college basketball, some of these tournaments this weekend over the past week. Shout out to North Carolina winning the ACC title. I did want to shout out Northern Iowa for beating Evansville in the whatever the hell conference they play in.
Right.
But the reason why I wanted to highlight them is, I think, end of February, beginning of March, this is the time where everybody who ain't really about that college basketball life, this is the time where we kind of try to catch up and see the who's and the what's.
Yep.
You waiting for those buzzer beaters, you waiting for all those types of things to happen.
True that.
So I woke up Sunday morning, man, and turned straight to CBS with the intentions of, all right, I'm going to catch something today. I'm going to catch a highlight. I'm going to catch a buzzer beater, something like that. And I sat there, watched basketball. I watched Cincinnati play, beat SMU. It was a pretty convincing win. And Evansville, a little tired and things of that nature. And the second that I had to get up, man, the guard for Northern Iowa, I forget the kid's name, pretty much was having an off game the entire game.
Right.
It's this buzzer beater that bounces off the rim and goes in with the last seconds of the game. And here I was on the CBS and telling my kids to leave me alone while I'm trying to watch basketball, and I miss it.
Oh, shame on you, bro.
Yeah.
Shame on you. That game was close. I mean, you should have never left the couch, man.
Yeah, but I don't even remember what it was, but I had to do that. Besides that, man, I'm good. What's good with you, though?
Hey, man, there was actually a Latrell Sprewell sighting this weekend, and for you folks out there that don't know what I'm referring to, Latrell Sprewell is in this new commercial for Priceline.com where he's giving this pessimistic advice to a kid. I don't know if you've seen it, Maestro. Yeah, man. He and the Admiral, David Robinson, was in it as well, and I just thought that was kind of amusing, the fact that Latrell Sprewell just comes from his cave somewhere, because he's been missing for like a decade. It seemed like almost. The braids? Yeah, he's still got actually he's got dreads now.
I was about to say, I was so joking. I was really expecting you to say, nah, he cut his hair.
Oh, nah. The dude got dreads, man.
All right, I can live with that.
Hey, I guess he needs some money, man.
Hey, man, everybody need money.
Yeah, no doubt.
Props to him. I mean, I don't know how much money he has left over from all that money he made as a ball player, but shit, it's been a long ass time since he played some ball, so shit.
Yeah, but you also remember he went broke after playing in the NBA.
Right, yeah. So I'm sure he figured something out, but shouts out to him for, making some money.
For resurfacing. That was a resurface, man. That caught me off guard there.
Some people don't really want to resurface, man. Like, some people just want to go back to a normal life. So maybe,
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Shouts out to him, though.
That's true. Hey, since you're talking about some college ball here, got the college top 25. We know the season ended over the weekend, so we got the Big Ten tournament. We got some other tournaments that are taking place this week. So right now, I'm going to just go 1 through 5 here. Kansas, number 1. Michigan State, number 2. Villanova, number 3. Virginia, number 4. And Xavier, which is a big surprise, they're number 5. Any other, anything else that kind of catches your eye? I mean, the Terps are at 18.
I'm not going to mention the Terps anymore until somebody does something better.
Oh man, that's disappointing.
Yeah,
man.
I'm not gonna mention the Terps. They got handled.
Disappointed. They're good enough to win this year because of the field, but they can also get bounced out in the first round.
I don't think they're going anywhere. I just be honest with you. As much as I would love the Terps to, with Melo Trimble, and I would love for them to, go somewhere and be relevant in this tournament. I just honestly don't see it happening.
Very disappointing.
Indiana played a great game.
Yes, they did.
So
they
guess
really
we
did.
Gotta shout that out. But I mean,
they're the Big Ten Conference champion, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Terps somehow wake up and they could win the Big Ten tournament, you think they could get back into like a 4 seed, a 4-3 seed?
I think so. But again, I just be honest with you, man. I mean, just
the last 6 games for the Terps have just not been there.
I mean, let's think about it. I mean, they were number 2.
Yes.
At some point in this season, and here we are at
number 18. That's a big drop, man. Big drop.
I mean, they certainly not the team. They're certainly not the number 2 team. They're not that team anymore.
I don't want to say they're not the team anymore. I think they're just a little skits right now. I mean, you can argue the last 6 games.
They didn't drop some.
They've dropped some clunkers. The one against the Minnesota Gophers was inexcusable a few weeks back, but this previous game against Indiana, no shame, because Indiana's the conference champions for now.
I tell you that. Nah, I think they're. I mean, okay, if they lost, 5 points, looked competitive in the game, cool.
Right.
No. This was a really telling to how they were really dominated throughout the course of this game. They were out hustled. They were dominated defensively. They couldn't. I'm not 100% sure what the rebounding numbers were, but just from me looking at the game,
right,
they were dealt with handily.
I like to think that that's an anomaly. I would like to hope, as a Terp supporter, that they could just get that game behind them, look forward to the Big Ten tournament, and if they could somehow win the tournament, get a top 4 seed, and just go from there. Because when I look at these rankings, I still don't see a dominant team that's out there. Yes, Kansas is always there. Yes, Michigan State's always there. But those teams haven't been, dominating themselves. So, we'll see. I think it's still wide open. I think there's about 20 teams that could win the title this year.
Wow, that's pretty strong.
There's about and look, let's not count Duke out. They're ranked number 19. They was outside the top 25 just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I know I said something about Duke. Forgive me for being a prisoner of the moment. I feel like they would have made a lot of noise and kind of stuff with my point had they won the title.
Right.
I don't know where I stand with them right now, to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. The March Madness is March Madness. I'm more excited because, like you said, there is no real dominant team, seemingly.
No, there isn't.
But I'm not excited because I really, since there is a level playing field, seemingly, I would have really liked to have more confidence in Maryland at this point.
Sure. I agree with you. I would have loved the Terps to take the next step forward and just try to create a little bit of separation, but they haven't done that. Yeah. Hey, so let me get to this news that I failed to mention last week on the show. And me being an avid Yankee fan, we acquired Aroldis Chapman, the closer, in a trade. And we talked about this a few weeks ago about the whole domestic violence thing that took place with him. Well, Major League Baseball, back in August, they came up with a policy for players that are involved in domestic violence cases. Mm-hmm. So they're actually trying to do something similar to what the NFL is doing. They handed out a suspension to Chapman, 30 games for the first month of the season, basically. We'll probably get him back in May. And not that it's any big of a deal to me because we do have 2 other closers on the team already. But how do you feel about what Major League Baseball is doing, trying to take the next step in creating a policy?
Preventive maintenance, man. I would imagine that just like the domestic violence thing blew up in the NFL, I would like to think that would have happened in baseball if they hadn't made some harsh decisions.
Right.
So I think making harsh decisions is preventive maintenance. We don't want nothing else to come out, so let's just go ahead and bust everybody's head right now.
Yep.
So, maybe we can, put the number down on folks
sure.
being involved in domestic violence. Because at the end of the day, man, we all know it don't make no league look good. I mean, and doing it, obviously, the actual act of domestic violence is obviously something that nobody should accept.
Sure.
So
Intolerable.
So here we go. Let's put the hammer down now. I mean, honestly, if you really want to send a message, I mean, what was it, 30 games you said?
30 games.
Out of 100?
162. Yep.
Shit, why not 50?
Oh yeah, if it was, I agree with you.
Set the precedent.
If it was 50, I wouldn't have been upset.
Yeah, I'm just saying set the precedent.
Yep.
I mean, set the precedent. Like,
absolutely,
we not having this.
Absolutely, because 30 games in Major League Baseball equivalent to how many games in NFL?
I mean, it's a nice number. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a nice percentage of the season. I'm just saying there's nice number and there's damn. Like, I feel like when
we gonna hit you hard.
When players think you cross the line, then it wakens them up.
Yep.
So, wake them up.
Yeah, nah, I totally agree with you, man. I agree with you there. Hey, let's get to some basketball real quick, man. Shout out to D'Angelo Russell. And for some of you Laker fans that's out there, I know you guys are having a sorry season. Your team stinks right about now.
Winning percentage at 200.
But nah, I got to show the homie D'Angelo Russell some love, because over the last 7 games, he's been averaging 25 points a game, averaging about 5 assists per game and all that good stuff. So they finally getting that boy, some playing time, finally giving that dude some opportunity to play.
I mean, is it really about them not giving him proper playing time, or is it about him developing?
It's about him developing, for sure. It's about that, because for me, in the beginning of the season, I thought I was going to see this guy do his thing, but since Kobe announced his retirement and everybody's talking about the Kobe retirement tour, it's like, okay, Kobe's going to be out there doing him, and the Lakers are not focusing on, hey, let's develop D'Angelo Russell while we're in the process. Let's develop Julius Randle while we're in the process. Let's develop some of these other young guys, because these guys are the future. So I'm happy for this kid. Number 2 pick out of Ohio State. You thought he was drafted too high, right? Yeah,
I definitely thought he was drafted too high. I just feel like the Lakers in there, not because skill wise. I mean, I think he was more of a point guard. I mean, more of a shooting guard than a point guard. I mean, he was more of a scorer.
Right.
So there's that. But I also feel like with the state of the Lakers right now, I really feel like maybe you wanted to shore up your front court and get build a stable front court wise more than back court wise. I mean, I get it. You about to lose Kobe, but I feel like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I feel like you could probably find a serviceable point guard, especially with the whole Russell Westbrook thing that could be happening.
True that. Yeah.
You could have either developed the point guard or got one out of free agency, and that would have been able to kind of lead those. Because in the West Coast, that's the Western Conference. That's where the big forwards are, the bigger centers are. So I feel like maybe you wanted to build that up, because you're going to have to deal with San Antonio. You're going to have to not necessarily the Warriors, but more so San Antonio. And if you got young guys, hopefully you get some young guys that could run a little better with the Warriors. Then I don't even know who their front court is, but
the Lakers.
Joseph Randle.
Joseph Randle, Roy Hibbert, and
Roy Hibbert,
Kobe,
who don't even have feet, as far as I'm concerned.
What happened to that guy, man?
He never really. I gotta believe that he was never really as good as he looked when he looked good.
I think it's a mental thing with that guy.
Well,
man.
I think he was coached well. That's what I think. I think he was coached well, and I think when he decided to stop listening, something had to turn off. With him being attentive, I don't know, but something had to turn off, because he went from one point where we was saying him and Dwight Howard were the best big men in the league, to him being damn near Kwame Brown.
He was that one year against the Heat in the conference finals. He was dominating inside the paint. I mean, Chris Bosh had no answer for him that one year, and all of a sudden the dude just regressed, man. Speaking of the Warriors, though, they got upset by the Lakers over the weekend. I guess these things happen during the grind of a season, I guess. You know, but 95-112 was the final, man. I mean,
pretty convincing.
Yeah, I mean, very convincing. I think the Lakers took the lead in like the second quarter and just held on from there and just ran away with it.
When you've only lost 5 games, you may take a night or two off. And I mean, as much as I think maybe they was trying to, they're really shooting for that record. I think they realized, okay, we could have took a night off and still beat them by 20.
Yep.
But Kobe is Kobe, and even though he only had like 12 points and he had a bad shooting night, I think Kobe had something to do with it. D'Angelo Russell had a good game. I believe he had like 5 assists. I think he had like, if I'm not mistaken, he had 20 points that game.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I'm not really concerned about the Warriors. I feel like everybody else is.
Yeah, the Warriors are gonna beat the Bulls' record, man.
Yeah, I think so.
Just off the top of my head, was it 20 games left at this point? They got 3 with the Spurs coming up. Mm-hmm. So I think they got 1. I think they got 1 at home. I think they got the 2 in San Antonio.
I don't think they're going to lose any of those games against the Spurs, man. I'll be honest with you. I think,
any of them?
No, I think these are the games that they wake up for. Like if you,
they'll wake up for it, but
you watch their progress. I mean,
but we've only seen them play the Spurs one time, and they did blitz the Spurs at home. I'll give you that.
And then they shitted on Cleveland.
Yeah,
and they shitted on Oklahoma City. Then when they played them again.
Actually, those 2 games were pretty close. The last 2 games they played were pretty close. Right. It seemed like the Thunder can keep it close with them of what we've seen so far.
Well, like we said last week, they should have lost that game with the buzzer beater.
Yes,
Steph Curry
definitely.
The buzzer beater. So I mean,
definitely.
Yeah, there's that. But again, it's just more of they play A1 basketball when an A1 team is in front of them.
Sure.
And when they look at, say, like the Lakers, they figure, hey, let's take a break. So if they do emphatically not make this record, it'll be, in my mind, probably those games like where they play the Lakers.
Sure. I think the best team that they've lost to this season so far was when Damian Lillard dropped 51 on them.
And, and Damian Lillard dropped 51 on them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
so it's
right.
It wasn't a team effort. It was like a motherfucker gone wild.
Yeah, pretty much. How many games do they beat this Bulls record by? Because what was the Bulls record? 72-10?
They'll beat it by 1 or 2.
Okay, so you think they'll be...
I'll say 1. I'm going to stick to 1 because they got 2 more losses to 8.
Okay. They'll be 73-9? 73-9? Okay, so they got... What? So that means they got like 4 losses to go to get to that record because they're 50. What are they? 50
6 losses right now.
They're at 6 losses.
6 losses right now.
Okay, so they got 3 more losses.
Yeah.
So I got to think one of those losses is to the Spurs. You got to think it is, and then the other 2, like you said, some of the crummiest teams that they go up against will probably just come out of nowhere.
Pending injury.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. Man, there's a lot going on in free agency in the NFL. Just seemed like the season doesn't stop. A lot of stuff been happening. A lot of contracts being renegotiated. A lot of trades. A lot of cuts. Where you want to start, man?
I guess the easy stuff. The Falcons released Roddy White last week. We knew it was coming.
The malcontent.
Yeah, he's been pretty unproductive for the past 2 years. I mean,
I think he cost them that season, this past season. I think he was I don't want to say he was the reason, but I think him mentioning not getting the ball early on in the season caused that team to just have a free fall. In my opinion, I think the guy just should have kept his mouth shut. Just accept the fact that you're winning football games because you haven't won football games the past 2 seasons prior to that. Just shut up play football. When the ball's thrown to you, catch the football.
What I think is that he's washed, and that's if something. I don't think that cost him the season. Because he wasn't doing shit when they were winning. He damn sure wasn't.
I'm not. I'm just saying the fact that you went out there and said that you're not getting the ball enough. You throwing your team under the bus like, hey,
well,
you basically saying I don't care about winning.
You only throwing Matt Ryan or Shanahan possibly under the bus,
right?
But I don't think the Falcons were not a good defense. I don't give a damn about the stats.
But you think the defense is what cost them that free fall?
I think that's a big part of it because
I don't know if it's a big part of it.
Here's why it was a big part of it. And we as the season progressed, we went through this. At one point they were a top defense statistically,
But their offense was also putting up 30 a game. And ever since the running back went down with the injury, that offensive production went down at least 10 points on average a game.
It was like 8 points, if I remember correctly.
Around 8 or 10 points. That average dropped significantly.
But the defense still was giving up more points. And the way I see it, it was as they were playing tougher teams. To be honest with you,
the Colts, I didn't think were a tougher team than Indianapolis. Than Atlanta.
Just down the road, though. Because
their schedule was soft.
Yeah,
the schedule was soft. The teams that they were going up against, the Buccaneers, the Colts, the Jags. They beat the Jags, but they were going up against AFC South teams. They were going up against teams in their own division, the Saints. Like I said, Tampa Bay. They were going up against teams in the NFC East. They were going up against teams where it was just like, wait a minute. Y'all losing against these bums?
Yeah, I never believed in their defense.
Yeah, I don't think the defense. While yes, they did give. You give up more points than the other team, you're gonna lose. But that defense, to me, was the most consistent from week 1 through week 17.
Right.
That offense put up about 30 a game the first 8-9 weeks, and then that losing streak of I think 4 or 5 games, that points per game dropped about 8-10 points.
Joseph Randle got arrested again for not showing up to court or something like that.
Yep.
Blah.
Yeah, gotta pray for that. Gotta pray for that dude, man.
Yeah, get him out of here.
You know what I mean?
Out of here as well. RG3 was officially released. Also in the week, Jason Hatcher, pass rusher, and fullback Daryl Young was released. Also, they have made it very clear that they don't have intentions on keeping Alfred Morris. If you tuned in to previous shows, I said this along week 2 that their play calling was in my mind it was made very clear that they weren't keeping Alfred Morris at the end of the season. Probably they didn't want to pay him the contract that he was going to be worth, as he was like maybe a top 5 rusher since he had been in the league.
I got a scenario for you though. So let's say RG3, he goes out, he signs with a team, he goes to training camp, he dukes it out with whoever, he wins the job, he gets a starting position at quarterback, and he lights it up. And let's say Kirk Cousins, who's on this franchise tag for about, $19 million?
Yeah, 19. Actually, you round up, it's 20.
About 20, yeah. So let's say Cousins next season he stinks to join up. He just falls. I don't want to say he falls flat on his face, but he doesn't have the year that would want to make the Redskins re-up with this guy.
Uh-huh.
How do the Redskin fans react to those two hypothetical scenarios?
Well, I'm going to tell you something about Washington, D.C. that all fellow Washington sports fans believe. And it's true. I ain't going to say believe. It is true to an extent. All players come to the Washington teams, whether it be the Wizards or the Redskins or the Bullets back in the day. They come to Washington, be terrible. And the second they go to another team, they end up being good. Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber,
Rip Hamilton.
Going to football, this wouldn't be RG3 doing it wouldn't be such a stretch. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So if he went there and did that, we would say that because we're used to it. To be honest, there's always there's always been that complaint of, for some reason, we can't keep the good players. We don't know how to utilize the talent. We let them go somewhere else and they become stars.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nothing short of that. The Texans seem to be the front runners that's trying to get RG3. So,
right.
So there's that.
What about Alfred Morris? Because I made the case that the Texans should go after Alfred Morris. Especially after the Arian Foster cut, by the way.
Right. Well, I'm feeling like what I read today is that they're looking more into Chris Ivory than they are in the Alfred Morris, but we'll see how that works out. One thing is for certain: Alfred Morris is going to get signed. This is not the end of his career by stretches, and it's not even going to be a decline of his career. He's going to go to another team, and hopefully it's a good fit. But he's going to go to another team and ball out. I'll be honest with you. A good controversial fit in my mind would be the Giants.
Oh man. Redskin fans would get burnt, man. They would be burnt.
But that would be a great controversial fit. They need a guy who is ready to just take that number one spot and be that number one guy. And Alfred Morris they're waiting for a guy to come in and just, really take the number one spot, because Rashad Jennings ain't doing it and Shane Perrine ain't a number one guy.
Right.
So, and Lord, don't even talk about Andre Williams. So
their running backs have not been. They're not stellar backs to me.
He would come in and automatically put all those other running backs in their proper place outside of Shane Vereen, who's already kind of where he needs to be.
Right.
And they'd be straight. Keeping in with Giants news, Victor Cruz has been told either you take a pay cut or you get released.
I'm not mad at the Giants for that
at all.
I'm not mad. When he had the injury in 2014, and then there was promise that he'd come back 2015, and he basically just didn't come back. So I can't blame the Giants for that one.
While still finding a way to release some of the more popular tennis shoes in the year. So
right. He was out on Instagram doing his thing, man. I would love for the Ravens to get Victor Cruz if he somehow miraculously hits the open market like that. As the
number one?
No, as a slot guy.
Okay.
As a slot guy,
You still got Steve Smith coming back.
Yeah, and Brashad Perriman, who we drafted last year, was supposed to be our speed guy, so he would be the number 2. And then if we somehow get a slot guy, if Victor Cruz just happens to fall into the market, that would be the guy.
Yeah.
Ozzy, do something, man. Well, you want me to? I guess.
Go into the Ravens, man.
All right. Well, two things. Let me get the Suggs thing out the way first.
Okay.
So TMZ reported that Suggs got arrested in Arizona. I guess that's his off-season home for driving without a suspended license. Mm-hmm. I guess the situation was he said he claimed he fell asleep behind the wheel and he crashed into some kind of barrier or something, crazy like that. He didn't get hurt or anything like that, but the police came and he told them what happened, blah, blah, blah. They checked his license and he wasn't supposed to be driving. I don't think this is a big deal from the sense that the Ravens have to cut him or do all, this is not Ray Rice.
Well, this ain't nothing. I mean, to be honest with you,
it's nothing.
You know how many people in the world got suspended licenses and don't even know about it? Not saying he did know or didn't know about it, but that's not even like I can't imagine somebody that would really try to play that situation out like that was something to be concerned about. What I will say is that he need to start being a little less reckless with what he does outside of his life. This ain't the first time where he's put, his NFL
put himself in danger. Yeah,
in danger. And again, you rich, you need to go ahead and get a drive if you sleepy. I don't know what the situation is, and I'm certainly not passing judgment. But what I would say is that maybe you should be a little more careful with your life choices. I mean, you fall asleep behind the wheel and get injured playing basketball.
Yeah, man. I mean, white BMW. Man, I wish I had a white.
I ain't worried about that. I
wish I had a white BMW.
We know you got the money. I don't even want a white BMW.
Yeah,
Just give me something that's clean and can get from point A to B.
Man, bump that. I want a BMW, man.
I don't want it right now. I don't want that shit living in D.C. I damn sure don't want that shit living in D.C.
Oh, you gotta keep that in the garage someplace,
exactly,
man.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's not a big deal. I would only say this in the Ravens case is that it's only a big deal because, again, it's another Raven tied to an arrest in an off-season for the third consecutive off-season.
I don't even feel like this Suggs thing is big news. I mean, if
it's not big news, but
you can't compare this to.
But again,
Ray Rice.
No, I'm not comparing it to Ray Rice.
You're not. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying for anybody, and I don't. I haven't heard anybody make a news story outside of just saying this is what happened.
Right.
But there's no even with the history of Ray Rice, and I don't know who the second player you were about to mention that got involved in some type of arrest, but menial to say the least.
Yeah. It's very, very minimal. But what I'm saying is, anytime
who was the other player, by the way?
Deontay Thompson was arrested.
No.
And
don't.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that the Ravens brand has to be fed up with their name being associated with an arrest of one of their players in the offseason. It's 3 years now.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't know who the hell Deontay Thompson is, so it's no.
But it's not about it's not about the name. No, it's about the fact that the brand keeps being mentioned in these arrests.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
but you sound like a fan right now, and I tell you why.
I am a fan. What?
Yeah, but I'm saying, but you're putting your fan into this conversation, which is cool. You're allowed to do that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that Ray Rice, there's that, and then there's this. I think you deal with it individually, but I don't think the Ravens are looking at their, looking at their brand and saying, man, every year we had an arrest, our brand may be looking bad. I don't think they're saying that because you're talking about Deontay Thompson, who was Deontay Thompson?
He was a wide receiver,
like an 8th string wide receiver. Like
but for me, again, it's not about the name. It's not about the name.
My point is who knew about that
outside of Baltimore? No, probably nobody.
Except for pundits that really do this, like
right. That are NFL lifers, yes.
Like they wake up and do
it. Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. And the only reason this is something that they're mentioning is because it's Terrell Suggs.
Right.
If it was Perryman,
it would be a big deal because he's
not even a big deal with Terrell Suggs.
He's a first round.
It's not even a big deal with Terrell Suggs.
I'm saying it would be talked about like they're talking about the Terrell Suggs thing.
They would talk about it way less than they would talk about it if it was Terrell Suggs, because Terrell Suggs is an NFL, like he's been here for a long time. Okay. Perryman, Brashard
Perryman.
Yeah, he hasn't even played a football game yet.
He hasn't, but he's a first round pick.
At this point, he is a first round pick that hasn't played a game yet. People outside of Baltimore Ravens fans and maybe, AFC North guys who really in that shit don't know who Brashard Perryman is. So they're going to say first round, the Brashard Perryman falls asleep behind the wheel on a suspended license. And they're going to say that's what happened. And that's it. That's going to be the end of the story. The only reason that people are giving this story
similar to the Suggs thing.
No, but the only reason the Suggs story is getting more credence than the Perryman would, because he's Terrell Suggs. If Terrell Suggs was, Paul Kruger back in the day, this wouldn't be getting no headlines. Well, Brashard Perryman
it wouldn't get national headlines.
Brashard Perryman is in the back of the Baltimore Sun right now. I mean, if that story happened to Brashard Perryman, it's in the back of the Baltimore Sun. Is just like the Deontay.
In the back of the Baltimore Sun.
It's in the back of the newspaper. Is what I'm trying to say. I know Baltimore Sun was a newspaper.
I was gonna say it's definitely in the front of the Baltimore Sun, but from a national standpoint, you're right.
If Perryman was in the story,
right,
it'd be in the back of the newspaper. It's in the front of the newspaper because it's a real stuff.
It would be it would not be a national story.
No, it wouldn't be a front page Baltimore story.
Yeah, it would.
If Perryman,
he's the first pick of the draft.
The game.
That don't mean nothing.
Sure
they got promising things for this guy, and the guy can't get on the field because he can't nurse his knee.
Motherfucking pick.
No, stop it.
If it was
Stop it.
Deontay Thompson wasn't in the front of the goddamn paper. I put $100 on that.
He wasn't, but you just talked about Deontay Thompson.
Brashad Perryman and Deontay Thompson, in my mind, are the same person because we don't know nothing about him.
No, you can't. That's unfair. Deontay Thompson's not a first round pick.
I don't give a damn. He ain't doing shit.
He's a practice squad guy.
He ain't do shit. In my mind, Brashad Perryman's a damn practice squad. Just because you draft them first round don't mean they don't end up on the practice squad.
Nah. Come on, man. Let me get to Joe Flacco here.
Yeah.
So we knew this was going to happen. They're going to restructure this contract, and just a couple things first before I go on my rant here. I'm kind of surprised that the agent had the leverage in the situation, and the reason I say that, Maestro, is because Flacco's coming off the injury to the ACL, and honestly, I don't know what to expect from Flacco. I'm sure, because the guy healed pretty quickly, I'm sure he's going to get back to form. I'm sure he's going to do all the workouts and all that good stuff. But truthfully, I don't know what he's going to be coming off his first major injury.
Sure.
So I'm surprised that the agent was able to get him this guaranteed money, which is, I think, about $40 million guaranteed.
Yeah, but I think, again, I think you got to treat it like a classic restructure, man. At the end of the day, we're gonna give you more. We're gonna give you more of the money up front.
Sure.
Or more of the money in the back end. However they work the
deal
out.
Yeah. And it was to get the cap down, because I think the cap hit was $28 million. Yeah, now they got it down to about $21 million.
Yeah, that's all it was. I've seen people take better hits.
Sure.
Tom Brady.
Sure.
I've seen people take better hits. Shit.
Pay cuts.
Yeah, I seen
straight up pay cuts.
Yeah, I seen Bama take a lot better hits and better quarterbacks than Joe Flacco taking more hits.
Sure.
I'm not sure what Drew Brees' numbers were.
Oh, Drew Brees' number was almost at $30 million.
Right.
So I don't know. We haven't heard about that situation yet. With all that being said about the restructure of Flacco's contract, I think now the contract's going to go through the year 2021, so another 6 years he'll be with the Ravens. Here's the thing. I don't like it, and this is the fan in me, again, coming out. I don't like it when every time this guy gets his money, they talk about contract situations, whatever, that these puppets get on the air and they talk about,
you old SME ass nigga. What you
say? I adopted the word, man.
Hey man, you old SME ass.
Man. Shout out to Doug Stewart. Shout out to Doug Stewart. But yeah, these cats come out. Mark Brunell, Skip Bayless. These other cats. Coming out and talking about well, he's the 32nd ranked quarterback since they won the Super Bowl, or is he overpaid? Is he the most overpaid quarterback? That like that question keeps being resurfaced every time this guy is either getting a payday or he's got to restructure a contract, which has only been 2 times already. But it to me, come on people, let's be honest here. This is the market for quarterbacks. Did I think he deserved the money after the Super Bowl? I thought he definitely was going to get a raise. No question about that. He definitely was going to get a raise.
No question about that.
A lot of people questioned the $120 million contract. A lot of people were questioning, well, what about the parts of the team? Look, don't give me you want Bernard Pollard back. Don't give me you want Paul Kruger back. Don't give me you want Donnell Ellerbe back. And let's face it, Ray was going to retire. So you really can't, count him. Yeah. Ed Reed, we saw what happened. He went to the Texans and got cut mid-season. And when that was it. We ain't heard from Ed Reed.
He went to the Jets.
Okay, where's he? He's on Inside the NFL on Showtime.
Hey, don't be coming for Ed Reed over there.
You know, hey, shout out to Ed Reed,
Fuck Ed Reed.
Shout out to him, but he couldn't play no more. He couldn't play no more.
Fair.
So when you talk about they gutted, because that was the narrative after the Super Bowl was that they're gutting the team so they could pay Flacco. Well, last time I checked, Ray Rice was still on the team. Haloti Ngata was still on the team. Terrell Suggs is still on the team. Dennis Pitta was still, and let's not forget they fell into Elvis Dumerville's lap after the whole fax stuff.
I mean, can we take a pause for the cause? Ray Rice.
Again, we're talking about after the Super Bowl. We're not talking about that incident.
No. I'm just talking about the players you named, not just Ray Rice. Ray Rice. That happened. Dennis Pitta.
Okay, that happened. Unforeseen.
Terrell Suggs' play went down, and then that happened.
Okay. Haloti
Ngata left. You know, so I mean, honestly, I feel like he in a system that ain't really gonna work for him in Detroit. But
right.
And then he's older. But
yeah,
you know,
right.
So out of all those players, I mean, the only person, all them players are gone, but the only person that really was productive outside of that was Haloti.
Prior to, I mean, after the Super Bowl.
After the Super Bowl. Well, I don't know, because I think Terrell Suggs had a pretty good year that next year, I would want to say.
2014 Suggs.
And like 11 sacks.
He had 11, 12 sacks,
and then that next year.
Yeah.
That next year is when he kind of teetered off.
Well, he got hurt. In the Denver game. 2013, he kind of fell off a little bit.
Nah, I wouldn't even say fell off. He had double-digit sacks.
2014, he had about 12, 13 sacks, and then this past season, he got hurt in the Denver game in the opener.
Oh, so he didn't really fall off. I mean, he did fall off some, but that's not really.
No, it's not a significant drop off. It's not a significant drop off, but
at least with Terrell Suggs, but yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that this is the market for quarterbacks. Look at guys like Ryan Tannehill getting contract extensions. What has he done? Look at Tony Romo. He's done some things. I would say he's a better regular season quarterback than Joe Flacco. I would definitely say that. But when the postseason come, we know the story with Tony Romo. When the postseason come, so you know, don't give me this crap about, well, Joe Flacco since the Super Bowl, his QBR is this. Well, did you fail to mention that he's had 3 coordinators those 3 years? Did you fail to mention that he had his best statistical season in 2014? Did you fail to mention that guy went to the that guy went to the playoffs 2014? Beat the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time in the franchise's history, and that's not no.
That's what we gonna do.
It's not about the Steelers. This is not about the Steelers. You want to make it about the Steelers, but I'm not.
We ain't had no running back.
Oh, come on, stop it. What happened to Big Ben? What happened to the great Big Ben Roethlisberger?
That's what we going. Oh, okay.
But it's not. But it's got nothing to do with the Steelers. I'm just making a point.
Ass waxed if Le'Veon Bell was playing.
I'm making a point.
Goddamn well know it.
I'm making a point that this guy, he went to the playoffs 2014, best statistical season of his career, beat the Steelers, almost should have beat the Patriots, but the defense.
Tom Brady.
So, yeah, and okay, Tom Brady, but still, you don't give up 2-4. You don't do that. That does not happen. That doesn't happen. I'm sorry. It doesn't happen.
Unless you're playing Tom Brady.
But look. Lay off the guy, man. The guy's gonna play. He's gonna come back. We all these questions about is he worth this money? Is he worth that? Why does it keep resurfacing?
Well, this is what I'll say, Trey. You might not like this. Let's talk about after Super Bowl. No, I'm sorry. Let's talk about that playoff year, 2012.
Okay.
Easily the best stretch of football he's played in his career. 11 touchdowns.
And we point to that stretch of football because it was 4 consecutive games. And that's another point that I wanted to make, is that yes, while he had an amazing run, those 4 games, the playoffs, that was an amazing run. But we point to that because it was 4 consecutive games. And that's all that's all that national people, that's all that people point to, and it was the playoffs.
I mean, anybody that throws no picks in the playoffs, 11 touchdowns, I mean
11 touchdowns, no interceptions.
I don't necessarily remember yards and percentages, but that's when, now let me say this before I go.
Go.
He deserved that contract based on what he did in a contract year.
Sure.
And I mean, and his body of work.
Yep. The resume. Yes.
You know, those consecutive playoff runs.
The resume.
He deserved the money. I think what capped it off was the playoff run.
Yes.
After that, if he didn't have the playoff run, I would be on the fence about whether he deserved the money or not.
Well, I think he would have got less money.
Yeah.
Not meaning take a pay cut, but he would have gotten like 14, 15 million instead of 20 million a year.
I would have been on the fence. But I'll say this. He, for the majority of his career, has been propelled by a pretty good defense.
Good defense, good running game.
Yeah, pretty much for his entire career.
Sure.
Now, fast forward to after the Super Bowl.
Sure.
When the defense wasn't as good.
Sure.
And the running game wasn't as good, obviously.
Offensive line, not as good.
You know, he wasn't that same guy.
Sure.
I mean, just 100%.
Sure.
He wasn't the same guy.
Agreed.
Now, I'm not going to say he did or didn't deserve the contract simply because it was based on his past. I don't think it was. I think it was more based on what his resume in the past than it was on his potential.
Sure,
what he was doing. I think Baltimore realized, hey, he's done it in the past.
He's a perfect fit.
I think
our offense.
There's nothing you can't franchise this guy. You can't let him go away.
Sure.
You got to pay him at the market because you can't pay for him. You can't replace Joe Flacco at this point. You know, after all these years he put in building with the team.
Sure.
Point blank and period. But skill-wise, I think we can both agree that he's had some questionable performances.
Sure.
You know,
I agree.
You know, and you know, not questionable performances, not in the sense because he was out-schemed or, you know, necessarily the defense was always the better defense, but more so because he was not accurate.
The football IQ maybe didn't kick in on certain games. I get that. That's where all this is coming from. I get that.
Now, my position on it is that, again, if you telling me it's based on what he did and that playoff run, I mean, what was it, like 7 years consecutive.
5 consecutive years that the Ravens made the postseason that they've never done in the previous era, mind you.
Based on his resume, you got to pay him at market.
Yep.
You got to pay him at market.
Yep.
So I don't disagree with it, but I can understand where the nonsense is coming from. But I will agree that it's nonsense, even though I don't fuck with Joe Flacco.
Okay.
You know. So that's why I stand with that. I don't know if you had any other bones to pick with Joe Flacco.
Yeah, nah, not really, but just, you know, just quiet the noise about who Joe Flacco is. He's a good franchise quarterback. He's not great. He's not elite. He's not, and to compare him to the Aaron Rodgers, the Drew Brees, is totally unfair. Is totally going to average 3,700, 3,800 yards a season, because that's what we've seen.
Yeah.
He's never topped 4,000 yards, which, okay, whatever. We win, whatever. You know, he's never thrown for more than 27 touchdowns in a season. Okay, fine, whatever. We still win. You know, this is who the guy is.
Yeah. Well, you know, keeping in with the Ravens, they let your boy Asmeli, I say his name wrong every time.
KO. Yeah, they let him go.
Yeah, he went there.
I don't agree with it.
He went to the Raiders. So that's definitely a hit to the offensive line.
I don't agree with it.
I just acquired Ben Watson for 2 years. So there's that.
He's gonna back up Max Williams and the other kid.
Yeah, he'll be a second guy. He'll be the second because you can't ignore his pass catching ability.
Yeah, sure. He had a pretty good season with the Saints last year.
Yeah,
pretty good season.
But you can't ignore it. I mean, he's for years been a pretty good pass catching tight end, so he'll definitely come behind whoever you guys name number one. Like you're saying, Max Williams.
Right.
So he'll definitely be that guy behind there. If we're done with Lakers. Shit, if we're done with Raven talk.
One question for you,
sure.
Just in your opinion, going back to after the Super Bowl and everything, if the Ray Rice stuff didn't exist and if Pitta stayed healthy, you think we will be having a different conversation?
Well, I'll tell you my personal opinion. Ray Rice was falling off anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy that, man.
I mean,
he got a raw deal, man. I mean, because I'm gonna be on the Ray Rice thing just for a minute here. Wouldn't you agree that the year he got hurt, which was the year after the Super Bowl, he played through it, but that was his worst year statistically?
Yeah, obviously.
Wouldn't you say that that's an anomaly? Wouldn't you think that, okay, just, rest yourself in the offseason, come back, we got a new offense in the Gary Kubiak, we got the zone blocking scheme that we think's going to fit you, and you're going to bounce back. Don't you? Wouldn't anybody think that guy was going to bounce back from that 2013 season?
I didn't, but that's logical. That's a logical thought, but I didn't. The Titans get DeMarco Murray from the Eagles. I'm going to assume that there was picks involved. DeMarco Murray didn't want to be there. Doug Peterson probably took heed of that he didn't want to be here, and he probably didn't want to be there more so because of the Chip Kelly system than anything. But Doug Peterson probably heard the rumblings, obviously going into the job.
Sure,
get him. I think it was more, let's just get him up out of here. It's not like we miss enough from because he's not running well in that offense anyway. So they got him the fuck up out of there. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, let me give you the Eagle side of this. This is taking a shot at Chip Kelly. This is the Eagles telling Chip Kelly, look, we're dumping your players because you picked these guys.
Right.
Other than
Sam, got rid of
Kiko Alonso and Byron Maxwell.
Right.
Yep. So those other two guys. Yeah, Chip Kelly, we're dumping these guys because you failed to put product on the field for us last year.
I guess on Chip Kelly's side he would take that as a shot, but I just think Doug Peterson came in and said, "Let me get my kind of guys." And these guys weren't his kind of guys, and I can
which I would hope for the Eagle fan is guys that can actually play.
Yeah, well,
on the Titans side, I want to kind of give my opinion on that. For the Titans, to me, I think this is an opportunity for DeMarco Murray to be the veteran because they got a young kid, Andrews or something like that. Antonio Andrews and a couple, another guy in the backfield for the Titans that they had some flashes last season. Obviously, the Titans didn't have a great year.
I don't even want to say flashes, but Antonio Andrews consistently averaged about 60, 70 rushing yards a game. Maybe scored 2 touchdowns all year. I forget who the guy was behind him, but but I saw. I don't want to say flashes. I just felt like he just had a lot of. He was the starting guy, so he was getting all the carries, which would dictate him getting 60, 70 yards a game consecutively.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he may have reached his rookie peak. But DeMarco Murray certainly for a lot like what Alfred Morris would do if he went to the Texans, and he shores up that number one spot.
Yeah, he's going to start for the Titans.
Yeah, easy.
He's going to start.
He's able to do. I think he'll merge with Mariota.
Yep,
I think he'll merge with him.
He'll definitely do that, and I also think future wise, because I still think those backs are probably going to still be the future. But it gives them sort of a stopgap with DeMarco Murray for maybe a year or two.
Gives them an opportunity to develop.
Yep, exactly. What else you got?
Lamar Miller's not coming back to the Dolphins. Front runners are Dallas and the Texans.
Yeah, let's talk about the Dolphins for a minute.
Yeah, because they also just got Mario Williams on 2 years. So Mario Williams, Kiko Alonso, and then Byron Maxwell
restructuring Ndamukong Suh's contract. Yeah, which they desperately needed to do.
Looks like they may keep Cameron Wake.
Yep.
And Brent Grimes being
Brent Grimes got him up out of there.
Yeah, and we are, and I feel like because Brent Grimes had some good years. I feel like that had a lot to do with Miko Grimes, his wife, who she constantly shooting at the NFL, and I feel like Dolphins already got enough bullshit going on with them right now.
Yep.
So I feel like it's like the conspiracy theory that had a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. Get him up out of there. Get his wife up out of there. Let him go somewhere else.
Brock Osweiler got the shoving some woman. The TMZ video was out. I don't know exactly what and why, but he got the shoving. His contract. I know the Broncos offered him 3 years for $45 million. It's between him staying in Denver and him going to the Texans.
Yep.
Do the Broncos let this kid get away?
They shouldn't let him get away. And I tell you what about that video.
How people are perceiving it is that that it was, for lack of a better term, harmless. Like it wasn't like I'll be honest with you. I watched the video and didn't read anything.
Okay,
I just watched it.
Because there was some rumblings out there that he was with his wife and they ran into this heckler and the heckler, do what they do, and I guess that person was targeting his wife, and he was just trying to protect his wife, and then you saw the shove by Osweiler to that, heckler. She was a girl, so, make of that what you will, but I just hope in his sake that it doesn't cost him any money.
All right, well, let's, I'm going to knock out the last little football news. We got... Grabbing my tablet. We got Mike Wallace was released by the Vikings. Big deal. Tom Howley.
You want him back? You don't want him back?
The fuck out of here.
Steelers don't want him back?
Fuck no.
Come on, dog.
We just re-signed Haywood Bay, who learned how to catch in Pittsburgh. Shout out to Richard Mann. And so no, we don't need his bum ass. His bum ass could go to Oakland.
Hey, Mike Wallace can learn how to recatch in Pittsburgh.
But it's about him not wanting to play. The Eagles get Leotis McKelvin for 2 years, $6 million. That was obviously kind of a replacing move because he had just got released by the Bills, so get him for the low.
Yep.
Malik Jackson is the big deal. Malik Jackson went to the Jaguars. 6-year contract for $90 million. None of that is worth really mentioning besides the Chiefs. They needed to shore that up. And Malik Jackson, we knew he was going to get a big contract coming out of the Super Bowl year. There it is.
Jaguars had like $60 million in cap space. It seemed like they always got cap space every year.
Well, they don't have no damn players. I mean, Allen Hurns and Allen Robinson are playing on rookie contracts, I'm almost certain. And then obviously Bortles is playing on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
They got... the kid from Alabama playing on a rookie contract.
Right.
So shit.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
So, obviously, the big elephant in the room news for the NFL is Peyton Manning making his official announcement. And before we do that, I did want to give a quick shout out to Calvin Johnson, who made the announcement, even though we knew weeks ago.
Yeah, we knew weeks ago he was,
But Peyton Manning officially retires, man, and had his press conference on Monday. This is being Tuesday recording the podcast. I'm just gonna run down some stats. I mean, we all know about the touchdown record. We know about passing yards and single season touchdown record. But some interesting records that I saw on Bleacher Report the other day. Well, I do want to bring this up before I get to the more interesting ones. Most passing touchdowns in a single game. I'm sure you remember that one pretty well. Where they
nice. Thank you for that.
I'm sure you remember that.
Thank you for that. And they had the nerve to kept running highlights of that game on one of them networks.
But I found this to be interesting. Most games completing 80% passing. He had 19 games in his career where his completion percentage was 80% or over. Most seasons with 350 completions in a year. He's had 5 games in his career where he had a perfect passer rating. 97 games in his career where he had a passer rating of over 105. 93 300-plus yard games. And then the most seasons passing for 4,000 yards with 14.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, most comeback wins in NFL history. Most game-winning drives in NFL history. Like,
yeah, he's got a lot of records, man.
I think we all know that he's probably one of the best quarterback. Not probably, he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time.
Absolutely.
I'm sure we all know that. But this dude was like Dan Marino on steroids. Like, well, Dan Marino had a way better arm, so let me take that back. But just passing records, like he demolished these motherfuckers. And I get it, he's been in the league for a long ass time, but he demolished these records.
Yeah, man. Peyton Manning definitely changed the way quarterback in their games. I mean, he was so cerebral in terms of wanting to control the offense. It was like he was his own offensive coordinator for so many years, and just looking at him on the field, just knowing what the defense is doing right away, even before the defense gets in their sets.
Right.
Just knowing, okay, I got a gap right here. I could, just switch to another play and give it to the running back. He just changed just the way teams. I mean, just the way the quarterback position was revolutionized.
Yeah.
He just changed it.
People couldn't deal with him. People couldn't deal with a dude that could look at your set and then change the play based on your set and be right so many times.
So many times.
Yeah.
Like 99% of the time.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. There's another stat. I think 19 different guys caught 1,000 receiving yards from Peyton Manning. Mm-hmm. I don't want to go down that list. I mean, I'm not doing that, but obviously Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Wes Welker, those are some of the names that stick out to me. This is this is going to lead into the topic here, and I think it's a very, very interesting topic to dive into. Is that with Peyton Manning no longer in the picture now, this is going to have a lot of impact on a lot of things. You talk about one of the faces of the league. When I think about a face of a league, I think about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And I think about how Jordan revolutionized basketball in a certain way. I think about basketball being at the height of its peak in those Jordan years, particularly, in the 90s. Once Michael left, and I'm not even talking about his time here with the Wizards. I'm not even talking about that. But once he left the league took a hit a little bit.
Yeah, haven't recovered since, to be honest.
From a marketing standpoint.
Well, I ain't gonna say it recovered when LeBron came. But
it definitely recovered.
Yeah.
But for those first 4 or 5 years, I say it was about a 4 or 5 year stretch after Jordan left where there was a void.
Yeah.
There really wasn't. I mean, you could say Kobe was, kind of, doing his thing. Shaq was in there, but really, basketball as a league, it took a big hit. It took a big hit. I mean, I remember watching games on NBC. I remember the theme song and all that just died once Jordan left. Now, compare that to Peyton Manning being gone from the league. I don't think the NFL is going to take that much of a hit like the way the NBA took a hit with Jordan left. A few reasons for that. The NFL is $1 billion empire right now. I mean, I think me and you could be faces of the NFL and the league will still make money.
Yeah. I'd be entertaining though.
But the league, to me, with the money it's making and with the endorsements and all the advertising and the marketing that they take so seriously, I think they're in good hands.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Peyton Manning and his legacy. His legacy, when you look back, or look ahead, when you look back 50 years from now is what I was trying to say.
Yep.
You're always going to tie Peyton Manning in with Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Right.
Yeah. That Peyton Manning's his whole legacy, is that duel between him and Tom Brady.
Right.
Peyton Manning, through his entire career, was never the clear-cut number one face of the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
He never was. It was always him and Tom Brady.
Yep.
So, as far as will we be able to move on, of course, because we still have Tom Brady.
Sure.
And Tom Brady's still playing at a high level.
Sure.
So it's more of just a matter of.
Or are they looking for that next quarterback duo?
They would love to have it maybe manifest, but there's really nobody on the NFL level that would have to play often enough that you could put there.
I think the closest thing right now is Russell Wilson and Cam Newton, because they've played every year for about the last 4 years, and then the playoffs too.
But it's a competition. But Russell Wilson ain't the best in the game.
No. I get that. I'm just saying that's the closest that we've seen in terms of two guys. You got Cam Newton, who's a potential face of the league.
If you had to make I think a better example would be Aaron Rodgers against Cam Newton. Aaron Rodgers.
We need to see more of those matchups, though.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure. But I'm just talking about as far as skill. Face of the NFL. I mean, I think you would agree that Aaron Rodgers is a bigger face of the NFL than Russell Wilson is.
Yes, I agree with that.
I mean, they're in the same ballpark, maybe.
Sure,
but
I agree with that.
Yeah. So there's Cam. At this point, if we had to just not talking about skill, but just face of the NFL, if we had to rate it, it'd be, in my mind, Tom Brady at number one,
mm-hmm.
and then there's Cam Newton.
Yep.
And then you can kind of dabble, if you will, everywhere after that. But there's Tom Brady and Cam Newton. Unfortunately, they're not going to see each other often.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be.
Which is why I brought up Russell Wilson and Cam Newton.
But I think as long as Carolina continues to win a division and Green Bay continues to win a division,
mm-hmm.
you could start seeing.
You could start that. Yes.
Start seeing that more often.
Agreed.
So I would go with Aaron Rodgers and Cam Newton, but the problem is that those two haven't surpassed Tom Brady yet.
Sure.
So at this point, Tom Brady, for lack of a better term, because I'm certainly in no way, shape, form, or fashion comparing Tom Brady to Michael Jordan.
Right.
Tom Brady is going to be kind of like left to be that Michael Jordan. Or here's a better example.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady is kind of left to be that Jay-Z after Big died.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So,
even despite all the Deflategate stuff, and I'm not trying to.
He shitted on all that this year.
I'm not trying to say that that's gonna stop him from being the face of the league.
In fact, at this point, with the way he played last year with no help, that is probably going to help his argument for being that guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be that. Like I said, I like the Jay-Z comparison better. Like when Big died, Big being Jordan.
Yep.
Somebody had to take over New York.
Yep.
Hold New York down, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Jay-Z held New York down.
Yep. For a few years. Yep.
Pretty much
for a few years. Yeah. He sure did.
Yeah. So that's what Tom Brady would do. That's what Tom Brady would do in my humble estimation. But like I said, depending on how the Packer or the Seahawks develop, you could see that.
Because the Seahawks for the last 4 years have been perennial playoff contenders. They got a Super Bowl out of it. They have a second Super Bowl appearance out of it. Should be 2 rings. Yeah. But so have the Packers. The Packers have won. The Packers got one over the last
have won the division
10 years. Yep.
So you would have this. The problem is that Cam Newton just started winning.
Yep.
You know, that's what the real problem is.
Yep, sure.
So if Cam Newton continues to win divisions, you'll continue to have to see Carolina and Green Bay.
Yeah, you got a good point there. Like, now that you say that, I think about those Colt seasons, those 12-win Colt teams
against
that
shit ass the AFC's out.
Right, and I'm not even gonna down the division, but I'm just saying to have that consistency, and even the Patriots for that matter, just to have 11 division titles in 12 years, if another team can do that, or if two other teams can do something similar to that, then you might have something
on
there.
Your hands. Right.
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, what do you think of the impact it's going to have on the AFC? I think this is my favorite topic here.
Well, I hope. Well, let me be very clear. Ben Roethlisberger has been a better quarterback than Peyton Manning for, let's say, 2.5 years.
These previous 2.5 years?
Yeah, for about 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. So that Ben Roethlisberger's maybe last 4 or 5 years, this is a good moment for him to capitalize
the opportunity,
and the offense is there for him to do so. So it'll be up to him to kind of take the place of Peyton Manning in that battle with Tom Brady.
Yeah, because he and Brady they've met once in the postseason, right?
Twice, but we know that we knew who the better quarterback was.
Sure.
Now at this point, the way Ben Roethlisberger, being older, he's throwing the ball at that level. And
right.
I'll be very honest, and I've said this on numerous occasions. Had Roethlisberger not been injured twice out of this year, them stats would be. He'd be in that MVP. He'd have been in that MVP conversation just as much as Tom Brady and Cam Newton would have been.
Yeah, you got the best receiver in the game.
Yeah, so
that definitely helps for sure.
Right, but he'd have been in the conversation.
Yep.
So there's that. So now pending injuries, he has an opportunity to really be that 1A that Peyton Manning was.
Sure. For the Ravens, it's an opportunity for them to get themselves back into being playoff contenders. Joe Flacco will never be the face of the NFL. Let me get that out the way. He has an opportunity to pad that resume, if you know what I'm saying, to a Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl MVP, postseason record is amazing, 10-5.
Right.
Joe Flacco definitely has a chance to extend that resume for the next 4-5 years. When I look elsewhere in the AFC, I look at a guy like Andrew Luck with the Colts, just signed Pagano, Dwayne Allen. Mm-hmm. Andrew Luck has an opportunity even once Brady's gone to be a legitimate face of the NFL.
Right.
Elsewhere in the conference, Phillip Rivers is on his last leg, just about. Alex Smith is on his last leg, even though
Alex Smith was never going to be anything worth mentioning as far as.
Well, I'm talking about as far as playoff contention. I'm talking about now that Peyton Manning is out of the conference. Thank God, I ain't got to worry about him no more.
I'm
looking around the conference and I'm seeing, okay, who's gonna step up? Who's gonna be? Because
Phillip Rivers has that chance just because that's how good of a quarterback Phillip Rivers is, and I failed to mention because he's the same age as Roethlisberger. So
they came in the same draft together.
Year, so it's amazing I didn't think to mention him.
Yep.
But he's in that same. I don't think. Andrew Luck is 4 years in?
4 years in, yep.
He got another
10 years. Easy.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So I don't think that I think a lot would have to happen for Andrew Luck to really to take that number one spot.
Yep.
Being Tom Brady would have to retire.
Yep.
Father
Time's gonna catch up though.
Yeah, at some point
he could say all he want about playing till he's 80,
he's not gonna play till 45. At least not productively.
He could say all he want, but
I think
the minute Bob Kraft notices even I don't want to say a slight of a decline, but The minute they start to notice, okay, this guy's declining, you know how the Patriots do. They
think
like
they'll cut him, or not cut him, but
not
get
cut
him,
him, but get him up. Yeah, the Patriots do this.
Yeah, but
you know?
never had somebody. They ain't never had Tom Brady before.
They haven't.
They haven't had a player in their solitary franchise history of the caliber of Tom Brady.
I will say this: as long as Tom Brady keeps taking pay cuts, they will not.
Right.
You know, let him go.
Right. I'm trying
because I feel like
that money, man.
Because I feel like if Brady hadn't taken a pay cut one of those years, Patriots would have been like, okay, you just like any of these other guys. I kind of feel like that, man. Oh, by the way, he's getting all that money from what's his wife's name?
Oh yeah,
Giselle.
Yeah, Giselle's making money.
Yeah. She getting that modeling paper.
She's like worth like $300 million.
Yeah. Like Jesus.
Yeah. I mean,
crazy.
To her.
That's crazy. So, what do you think about the AFC West now?
The AFC West is for the Chiefs to take. Not because, look, Malik Jackson's gone. Danny Trevathan is probably gone.
Mm-hmm.
There are some pieces that are going to be missing in that defense. I mean, they in a franchise. They the fuzz around.
Sure.
They the fuzz around the franchise. Von Miller didn't get contract done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. You know, Brock Osweiler might not even be there. Like, there's a good chance.
There's a good
Brock
chance.
Osweiler might not be there.
There's a good chance.
And not even that. I'm super sold on Brock Osweiler. By the way, I'm not super sold on Brock Osweiler.
Sure.
But, he might even be gone. So let's say he goes. Brock Osweiler. Who's your quarterback?
Yeah.
I don't even know if they have a third string, but I damn sure know whoever their third string is, they wouldn't be starting.
Because Elway not coming down from president to do it, so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do.
On John Elway, old ass. But, they would be in trouble, which means they'd have to go in the draft or pick somebody up. And not to say that they couldn't find somebody like...
RG3, maybe.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
RG3.
I mean, I think, and that would actually be the natural progression if Osweiler ended up going to the Texans. Not the only guy, but the guy that's left is RG3.
Yeah.
I heard Von Miller. Von Miller's been on Twitter and on social media vying for Johnny Manziel, saying that that he would love Johnny Manziel to come to Denver.
I don't buy that.
No, I buy that he wants that. That shit ain't happening.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I don't buy that Johnny Manziel's going to any team with the way things are going with that guy.
At least not this year.
So. Yeah, definitely not this year.
So there's that. But the Chiefs have the best team right now in my mind, without Peyton Manning, potentially Brock Osweiler, and then again
without some of those pieces on the defense.
Right? Because as good as Denver's defense was, the Chiefs had a pretty good defense as well.
Absolutely.
They got Tamba Hali back.
Justin Houston's still there, I think.
Eric Berry's there at least for another year.
Yep.
So they got
Jamal Charles gonna come back.
Yeah, and
we'll hope to see if he's the same or not.
But even if he isn't, they got two decent running backs, and I don't think both of those running backs are going to be there next year. But they got, as of right now, they got two good running backs. That can do the job.
Yep.
So I think the Chiefs division. I'm sorry for the taking. The Broncos would be in second, but the Raiders would be in third. They still need pieces on defense. I'm not 100% sold on Latavius Murray, even though he's had a good year. And he was like fifth in the league last year in rushing. I know it sounds like hate. I'm just not 100% sold on him.
Right.
So there's that, and then the Chargers, the lowly Chargers, who probably going to they're probably going to let Ladarius Green get away from him this year.
Mm-hmm. That's a tight end, right?
Yeah, the tight end that was supposed to have been the heir apparent to Antonio Gates.
And they had a ton of injuries last season.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that all those guys coming back is going to all of a sudden they're going to be 10-6.
They're looking to lose leadership too, because Eric Weddle's looking to go. And not that Eric Weddle was so good last year, but again, leadership.
Yep.
who the hell gonna lead the charge now? Man, Tateo? Like, I don't.
Hey, that guy's been kind of quiet since that whole ordeal.
He's quietly played football. He hasn't been super productive, but he hasn't been bad either. So,
right.
There's that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give up on Denver just yet. Here's what I would like to see the Broncos do. Obviously, bring back Osweiler. You've already put the franchise tag on Von Miller. And I know you're letting some pieces go on the defensive side, but even if that defense takes a slight, and I think many people agree that the defense is going to take a slight edge back. They're going to take a step back. They weren't historically good, but just the way they play, the defense is fast.
Right.
I don't think they're going to be as fast this coming season as they were this year.
But I think what allowed them to be fast, again, Malik Jackson was really not gonna say underappreciated by the team, but I don't think people really realized how good he was until the end of the year.
Right.
Malik Jackson played some good football last year in particular. So
if they could find a way to keep him, but my point is, even if that defense takes a slight step back, I think signing Osweiler along with the offense that you have there, with Kubiak running the zone blocking scheme, I think those two sides of the ball could balance itself out enough to where I think they can still compete for the division title.
They'll definitely be in contention. I don't think they'll get it.
I think it's a 2-team race at this point.
That's fair.
But I'm not going to count the Broncos out. But you're right. I think the Chiefs, right now, currently constructed, are the favorite. But I'm not going to give up on the Broncos just yet. I want to see what other moves they make.
As we get ready to close up, I did want to give a shout out to LeBron James, who just became 13th all time in scoring. I think he
passed Havlicek for 13th.
I think we kind of forget that LeBron James has really been in the league for over 10 years.
Yeah, 13th season, right?
Yeah, like he's really been in the league for a long time, so it's interesting that to see him. I remember his first game against Sacramento, his rookie year. He scored 25, had like 9 rebounds and like 5 assists, something like that. His first game, and he's come all the way from that. He's still averaging like 25 a game.
Oh yeah,
career wise, and but. Like we've watched him consistently be that be that guy, and where he was the best player in the league, and now he's top 2. But
LeBron. Shout out to LeBron. They lost a tough game last night against the undermanned Grizzlies team at home. By the way, no Zebo, no Mike Conley, no Matt Barnes, no Gasol. That was very disappointing. Very, very disappointing. So
let me give. I don't know if you had, but I did want to get this shout out. I put this on Twitter the other day. So, Aaron Andrews was awarded $55 million for the scan. Somebody videotaping her getting naked through a peephole, a stalker. And I pose a very controversial and might get you in trouble if you answer this wrong question. How do you put value on the embarrassment of what happened to her? How do you put value on that?
In terms of the award, or just
she asked for $75 million.
Yes, I heard about that.
Gave her $55.
Man, that's a lot.
But
of money.
how do you put value on it? See, I don't want to say that's too much money,
right?
But that's a lot of fucking money.
It's a lot. God.
So I don't want to get into. So let me save both our asses before we say something we don't want.
Whoa. This is the barbershop sports talk. This is the barbershop sports talk podcast.
Some niggas don't think we do this. So I ask you straight up: is $55 million too much money?
Yes, it's too much money.
Why?
Why is it too much money? Because despite whatever she went through, whether it's depression, whether it's she had to answer a whole bunch of questions prior to the court case, whatever she went through that was demoralizing, that was detriment to her well-being, there is just no way that she lost, or that her loss is to the value of that much money.
$55 million.
There's just no way. I mean,
her and her generations afterwards are straight because a nigga's a pervert.
Jesus, she could have.
Because a nigga is a pervert in a hotel, so the hotel had to kick out.
She had to pony up. Yeah,
the hotel had to kick out. The way I read it is that they considered the hotel to be like 49% responsible. They had to kick out 27. They got to kick out 27 mil.
Right.
And the guy, 51% responsible. He has to kick out like 28 mil somehow or another. That equals up to 55 mil.
Yep.
Here's a great question. I don't know this guy who cut out windows in the people, cut out the peephole and put the camera there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This nigga got $28 million.
He sure as hell don't.
So here's the other piece. So she's probably not going to get $55 million when it's all said and done.
Probably not.
The hotel damn sure got 27.
The hotel? The Marriott?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got 27.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
After taxes and all that, she's straight, bruh. She could, because what, she does sideline reporting for Fox. She could call the games with that much money if she wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, good God,
that's a lot of
that's a lot of money, man.
That's a lot of fucking money.
Hey, if that's enough money,
if that's the case, nigga, somebody please videotape me. I would be embarrassed, and I would legitimately be embarrassed.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going viral, hell yeah.
I'm not nowhere near as popular as Aaron Andrews, but shit, give me $50,000 and a lifetime pass at the Marriott, I'd be straight.
Word up.
Like shit.
Jesus, what's she going? Man, and she ain't got no kids.
Nah, I thought she had. No, she don't got kids.
She don't have kids.
She talk about when she has kids.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Yo, her parents are straight. If she got siblings,
I hope she's smart enough to not,
Nah, I don't think she's gonna just spaz out.
I think she'll still work.
Yeah.
Nah,
she'll work.
I would imagine that
Yeah, Fox better be worried though.
They paying her guap, so I don't think she's gonna miss out that money and just sit around and blow.
Right.
Whatever she gets out of that $55 million.
Right.
But shit,
yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting. I definitely, that's a lot of fucking money, man.
Yeah, man. While we were talking earlier, we got the TV on in here, and TMZ just happened to show Aaron Andrews and the whole court case thing and how she just got the reward and all that stuff.
And all that shit.
Yeah. It was crazy, but that's a lot of money. Hey, shout out to the SME Network. Shout out to Doug Stewart. Shout out to all the listeners out there that continue to support each and every week on the Barbershop Sports Talk podcast. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen to an archive of some of our episodes, they are available on SoundCloud.com. Just go to www.soundcloud.com and just type in Barbershop Sports Talk, and you see our red logo right there, and you could just go down the list or whatever. Also, a reminder, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Hit us up on the email at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com, and the Twitter, right?
At Barbershop Sport, SPOR, the number 2. Holla at me, man. Shout out to the homie Maceo, who was showing love on Twitter last week. When the joint was airing, I was trying to keep up with you, but I was, I be maneuvering, doing my own thing around the time the show be airing. But shout out to you, man. Keep that up, man. Shout out to him and what he's doing.
ASAP. I'm Trey Fraser. That's Maestro Styles over there. Next week, we're going to get into the basketball tournament in college. We're going to get into that. We'll get into some more NBA stuff as the playoffs come near.
Yeah, Selection Saturday, by the way, is on Sunday.
Selection Saturday.
Sunday, my fault.
Oh, wow.
Sunday. Selection Saturday is on Sunday. Now, Selection Sunday is on this coming Sunday at 5:30. So
ASAP. So, again, we'll holler at you next week. Peace out.